Chapter 1571. Benjamin headed straight home, while the children, full of youthful energy, engaged in various playful activities, providing Marissa with delightful company. Amidst the laughter and childish merriment, Marissa reclined casually on the couch, her gaze fixed on the television screen, her hands occupied with a piece of fruit, while her mind seemed to wander far beyond the walls of the living room. The children, ever attentive to their mother's demeanor, frequently interrupted their play to check on Marissa. They offered her drinks and snacks, trying to break the spell of her distant gaze. Despite their efforts, Marissa's attention swiftly drifted back to the depths of her thoughts, seemingly oblivious to the world around her. Curiosity finally got the better of Gavin. He inched closer to Marissa, his eyes wide and sparkling with innocent intrigue, and he inquired, "Mommy, what are you thinking about?" Jasper, with a hint of playful mischief in his tone, chimed in, "Mommy, you're not thinking about Daddy, are you?" Pulled abruptly from her reverie, Marissa glanced at her children. "I was just spacing out, not thinking about anything," she protested. Her uncertainty about her own origins clouded her thoughts, leaving her at a loss for words to explain to her young ones. "Mommy, you're terrible at lying. It's clear that you're not daydreaming. This is what you look like when you're daydreaming." Jasper, with the astuteness of a child, saw through her facade and imitated her thoughtful pose, exposing her pretense. Marissa, unable to help herself, let out a chuckle. She pursed her lips and muttered softly, "I don't even know how to explain it to you. Just say it however you want to say it." Oliver shrugged his shoulders, his curiosity about her daydreams equally piqued. Marissa surveyed her children, each of them gazing back with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Ha, let's wait until your daddy comes back to discuss this," she proposed with a light-hearted laugh. Marissa's thoughts momentarily wandered, a fleeting curiosity arising. I wonder if Benjamin managed to find out anything on his end. In the midst of this pondering, Jasper's voice cut through, tinged with a hint of playful grievance. Mommy, you've really left us hanging in suspense. That's not fair," he complained, his tone light yet expectant. Timothy cast a quick glance at the clock adorning the wall. "Daddy should be back any moment now, right?" He mused aloud. "Mommy, are you feeling hungry? I can fetch something for you to eat." Gavin ceased probing further, instead shifting the conversation toward more mundane matters. "I'm not hungry. I've had my fill of fruit already. You all go on and enjoy your playtime," Marissa encouraged, her hands reaching for the remote to switch the television to a different program. Observing their mother's renewed focus on the television, the children sensed an authentic shift in her attention. It was then that they allowed themselves to be fully absorbed in their playful endeavors once more. The house echoed with the sounds of their laughter and lively chatter, creating a warm and cheerful ambiance. This homely symphony was so absorbing that the faint noise of an engine outside failed to register. When Benjamin made his entrance, he was greeted by this enchanting domestic scene. His usually stern demeanor softened considerably, a wave of warmth washing over him. He quietly maneuvered his way behind the couch, managing to remain unnoticed by both Marissa and the children. Adopting a playful stance, Benjamin leaned slightly over the couch's backrest and reached out to affectionately pinch Marissa's cheek. Caught off guard, Marissa's gaze followed his hand, landing on his eyes that twinkled with a playful glint. "You're back," she exclaimed, a note of surprise in her voice. "Yeah," confirmed Benjamin, a slight upward curl of his thin lips betraying his contentment. His gaze was unwavering, fixed entirely on her. "What were you watching so intently?" he inquired, his tone light-hearted yet curious, noting that today was an anomaly where neither the children nor Marissa had acknowledged his arrival. With a light chuckle, Marissa dismissed the query. "Oh, I got bored, so I decided to watch some TV." In a swift, tender gesture, Benjamin planted a discreet kiss on her cheek before gracefully taking a seat beside her. Meanwhile, the children, Gavin, Timothy, Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse, had been deeply engrossed in constructing their miniature castle, oblivious to their surroundings. It was only when Benjamin quietly took his place beside them that they sensed a presence. Startled, they lifted their heads and, upon recognizing their father, expressed their surprise in unison. "Daddy, you're back. Benjamin offered them a gentle, acknowledging glance. Yeah, Orissa, seizing the moment, offered Benjamin the cup of water Timothy had thoughtfully poured for her earlier but which remained untouched. Here, have some water, she said. Gratefully accepting the cup, Benjamin took a sip, the cool water providing a brief respite as it moistened his throat. Meanwhile, Orissa's gaze lingered on him, her eyes searching his expression for any telltale signs of his day's experiences. However, his features remained unreadable. How's everything at work? She inquired, her tone casual yet laced with underlying concern. Just the usual everyday work, Benjamin replied, his response brief as he finished his water and placed the glass aside. Orissa nodded in understanding, her mind teeming with questions yet unasked. However, before she could delve further, Benjamin preempted her. Shall we have our discussion now, or would you prefer we talk in the study? Chapter 1572. We can talk now, Orissa insisted, her eyes locked intently on Benjamin, signaling the urgency of the matter. She was unconcerned about the possibility of the children overhearing their conversation. Acknowledging her determined gaze, Benjamin briefly glanced at the children before inquiring in a lowered voice, have you told them yet? Orissa responded with a slight pout, they've already asked about it, but I haven't said anything. Since they're bound to find out sooner or later, I might as well tell them now. The children, with their naturally sharp ears, had been attentively following their parents' exchange. Gathering around, Zachary, with a hint of impatience, urged, stop avoiding the topic and just tell us. What's going on? Benjamin gave Zachary a look, then turned to Orissa, even Regan is unaware of this. Orissa wasn't particularly surprised. She understood that if her grandfather had chosen not to disclose something to her, he likely had concerns that Regan might inadvertently reveal it to her someday. I had a feeling he wasn't lying. It seemed Grandpa hadn't told him either. Benjamin shared this piece of information with Orissa, deliberately omitting specific details about her background. Yet, both of them were acutely aware of the underlying topic of their discussion. Meanwhile, the 6 children, who had been eavesdropping, found themselves completely lost, unable to grasp the context of the conversation. Mommy, what are you talking about? I don't understand any of this. Jessie expressed her confusion, frustrated by the elusive nature of the discussion. Orissa, noticing the puzzled looks on her children's faces, gently pinched Jess's nose and began to clarify, we're discussing my true parentage. The revelation prompted bewildered reactions from the children. Your true parentage? Mommy, does this mean you're not really Regan's child? Gavin, quick to grasp the implications, questioned. Orissa nodded in confirmation. I am not his biological daughter. This revelation took the children by surprise, and the very next moment, they erupted in a chorus of cheers. That's fantastic. So, it turns out that scoundrel isn't our granddad after all. Mommy, don't be sad. In fact, it's good news that Regan isn't your biological father. Orissa observed her children, relieved to see their lack of rejection and, instead, their genuine excitement. Did you all dislike him that much? Absolutely, it's his fault for not appreciating you, Mommy. Oliver's comment lacked any affection for Regan. After speaking, Oliver glanced at Orissa, worried she might be upset. To his relief, Orissa reassured him, knowing he's not my biological father actually makes me feel more at ease. She reflected on the shift in Regan's attitude toward her over the years. Initially, with her grandfather's protection and no disputes over inheritance, Regan treated her kindly. But after her grandfather's passing and the inheritance being left solely to her, Regan's demeanor changed, especially with people like Heather fanning the flames. Mommy, it's a relief we don't share that scoundrel's bloodline. Zachary comforted Orissa, his happiness evident. Orissa laughed, realizing the children truly had no fondness for Regan. Sweethearts, I have another piece of news for you, she announced, a mysterious smile on her face as she gathered the children's attention. Gavin, Timothy, Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jessie huddled around her eagerly. Benjamin, who had been sitting next to Orissa, found himself gently nudged aside by the excited children. What is it, Mommy? Orissa met their curious eyes and revealed with a smile, I'm also not Beatrice's daughter." The children's eyes widened in shock, and they exclaimed in unison, "That's great. Michael isn't our uncle." Orissa was moved by their unique expressions of joy, torn between laughter and tears. Even Benjamin, typically more reserved, couldn't help but be amused by the situation. Chapter 1573. If anyone dares to mistreat Mommy again in the future, they won't receive any leniency from us, Gavin declared, his small brows furrowing in determination. Jasper, on the other hand, expressed his disdain more vividly. They didn't even bring Mommy into this world, yet they have the audacity to seek her help. Their shamelessness knows no bounds. He remarked scornfully, his emotions so strong that he even spat to emphasize his contempt. Curious about the timeline of these revelations, Zachary turned to Orissa with an inquisitive look. "Mommy, when exactly did you discover all this?" he asked. Orissa glanced affectionately at her children before explaining, "Daddy has been piecing this together over the past few days." Zachary's gaze then shifted to Benjamin, his eyes shining with a mix of curiosity and admiration. "Mr. Graham, what made you start questioning all these things?" he inquired, eager to understand Benjamin's motivations. Benjamin looked down at the little one, his voice gentle yet earnest. "I noticed that the way they treated your mommy was distinctly different, which prompted me to investigate further," he explained. Zachary nodded, his young mind still processing this new information, his respect for Benjamin evident. "Then, who are your real parents, Mommy?" Timothy asked, his voice reflecting the curiosity shared by all the children. Orissa sighed, a hint of sadness in her voice. "Even I don't know," she admitted. Benjamin elaborated on the situation. "Today, I met with Regan to discuss this, but to my surprise, he didn't have any information either," he told the children. He suspected that the true nature of Orissa's identity was complex, perhaps even deliberately obscured by Dominic. Oliver, ever the skeptic among the children, furrowed his brow in doubt. Did Regan really not know, or was he just withholding the truth? He questioned, wary of Regan's honesty. Benjamin reassured him, it seemed like he genuinely didn't know. He then glanced at Orissa, saying, "You were brought back by old Mr. York. Given the sensitivity of your identity, it's likely he kept your background a secret from everyone. Regan had repeatedly questioned his father about your origins, but never received a clear answer. He even speculated that you might be old Mr. York's biological daughter." Orissa couldn't help but react to this absurd notion with a slight twitch of her mouth. Only Regan would dare to think so outlandishly. Did he really believe Grandpa was the type to engage in affairs like him? The children, sharing a mutual disdain for Regan, expressed their skepticism. Did he seriously think great-granddad would behave like him? Orissa rolled her eyes, dismissing the idea. "It's highly unlikely. If I were Grandpa Dominic's daughter, wouldn't he have told me?" she reasoned. Though there were some physical resemblances between her and her grandfather, it didn't necessarily imply a biological connection. Orissa considered the possibility that she resembled Dominic simply because he raised her. If she were indeed his biological daughter, Dominic, who adored her deeply, would never have allowed her to be registered under Regan's name. Maybe Grandpa himself wasn't sure of my true parentage. It's possible I was just a child he found and decided to care for, she pondered aloud, her voice tinged with a hint of melancholy. The indifference she felt toward parental affection could perhaps be attributed to Regan and Beatrice's influence. Benjamin, sensing her need for comfort, gently placed his hand on the back of her head. "Let's not jump to conclusions just yet. We haven't found any concrete information," he advised, encouraging her to stay hopeful. Orissa looked up at Benjamin, who seemed more optimistic than she felt. She managed a small laugh. "Let me know if you come across anything positive." The man returned her gaze, his eyes deep with understanding. He knew she was bracing herself for potential disappointment. "Okay," he nodded in agreement. "Let's go eat. Edwin and Grandaunt should have everything ready by now," Orissa suggested, rising from her seat and motioning for Benjamin and the children to follow her to the dining room. "Make sure to wash your hands first," Benjamin reminded the children, gently taking Orissa's hand as they slowly made their way to the dining area. The children, well-behaved and responsive, quickly scampered off to wash up in anticipation of the meal. Orissa, casting a sideways glance at Benjamin, asked, "Is there anything else you haven't mentioned?" He met her gaze, realizing how attuned she was becoming to his thoughts. He squeezed her hand reassuringly, conveying his affection through the gesture. "I need to make a trip to the base," Benjamin suddenly revealed, his brows furrowing slightly. He was reluctant to leave Orissa alone, but the situation at the base required his attention. Orissa, caught off guard by this unexpected development, voiced her concern, "Is it serious over there?" Benjamin gently caressed her face, his whisper conveying both concern and reassurance. "I'm worried about Kingsley and Jack. We haven't heard from them yet." Chapter 1574. Orissa observed Benjamin, understanding his concern for those in Delmore. The uncertainty of the situation there was unsettling. "If you're worried, it might be best to go and check on them personally. It could be a simple communication issue. Try not to stress too much about it." "Yeah." Benjamin gently stroked her hair, appreciative of her understanding and support. "I'll be back as soon as I've resolved everything over there," he assured her. With a comforting smile, Orissa replied, "Don't worry about us here. We'll manage just fine. Your safety is what's important. Make sure to call me every day, so know you're okay." Benjamin nodded, his hand giving hers a reassuring squeeze. "I promise, I'll call you every morning and night." The children, blissfully unaware of Benjamin's impending departure, continued their meal. It wasn't until Ethan arrived and informed Benjamin that the plane was ready that they realized he was leaving. Gavin's eyes widened in surprise. "Daddy, are you going on a business trip?" Timothy, Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse all turned their attention to Benjamin, curious about his sudden departure. "Yes, I have to head to the base. Make sure to listen to your mommy while I'm gone, and don't cause any trouble. I'll be back in a few days," Benjamin instructed them. Zachary's eyes sparkled at the mention of the base. "Mr. Graham, can I come with you? I might be able to help," he suggested eagerly, jumping at the chance to explore the base and perhaps learn something new. Benjamin looked at the young boy. "I'm going to the Northwest base due to an incident. It's best you stay home," he advised. Zachary bit his lip, accepting the decision with a hint of disappointment. "Everything is ready, so you should go soon. Be careful." Orissa, understanding the urgency of the situation, didn't prolong their goodbye. She straightened Benjamin's collar and offered a few parting words of advice. Benjamin looked down at the woman, feeling a warm affection. He leaned in to kiss her forehead gently. "Take good care of yourself and don't wander around unnecessarily," he instructed lovingly. "Understood," Orissa replied with a nod, her smile conveying both reassurance and affection. "We'll be waiting for you at home." After Benjamin affectionately ruffled her hair, he turned to the children. "Take good care of your mommy," he instructed. "Understood." The children responded in unison, their maturity evident in their voices. "Take care of yourself too." Benjamin felt a sense of comfort from their words. "Okay, I'm off." He gave Orissa one last deep look before joining Ethan and heading toward the helicopter, ready to depart for the airport. Orissa and the children stood at the door, watching as the helicopter disappeared into the distance. Once it was out of sight, Orissa turned back toward the house. "Mommy, you should go upstairs and rest," Gavin suggested, looking up at her with concern. Orissa nodded, acknowledging his suggestion. "Let's all go upstairs and rest," she said, leading the children. The children's mood was noticeably subdued. Orissa, noticing their downcast expressions, playfully teased, "Why the long faces? Are you all missing Daddy already?" "Not at all," Jasper quickly countered, denying any hint of sadness. Orissa laughed lightly. "Then why isn't anyone cheerful?" The children avoided her gaze, neither admitting to their feelings nor daring to contradict her. Orissa's eyes danced with mirth as she observed their expressions. She knew that if Benjamin could see their faces, he would be touched. With a thoughtful smile, she took out her phone and captured a photo of the children's expressions. She sent the photos to Benjamin, knowing he would be able to see them once he reached the airport. The images would surely bring a smile to his face. even in the midst of his busy departure. Chapter 1575. Timothy, always watchful and caring, kept a close eye on Orissa. Noticing her occasional glances towards the children, he gently cautioned, "Mommy, watch your step." "Got it," Orissa acknowledged his concern with a warm smile, cautiously making her way up the stairs. She observed the children following behind her, forming a neat line as they entered the house. Turning to look at them, she asked affectionately, "Would you like to take a nap with me?" The children's faces lit up at the suggestion, especially Jessie, who was brimming with excitement. "Yes, Mommy, we'd love to sleep with you. We promise we won't disturb you at all," she said enthusiastically. Orissa felt a surge of happiness at their eager expressions and decided to join them for a nap. "Everyone, let's head to the bathroom first, and then we can all nap together," she suggested. It had been a while since she had the opportunity to sleep alongside her children. With Benjamin's cautious approach during her pregnancy, he had kept the children at a safe distance. Now, in his absence, it was the perfect chance to enjoy this intimate moment with her little ones. Hearing her instructions, the children hurried to the bathroom, their excitement palpable. Quickly finishing up, they scampered out and climbed onto the bed, patting the middle spot invitingly for Orissa. "Mommy, come on up, you should sleep in the middle," they called out. "All right, let me just use the bathroom too. I'll be right back," Orissa replied with a light-hearted chuckle. After returning from the bathroom, she found the children already settled in their places, each lying down obediently on their own. As Orissa approached, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper sat up to make room for her. "Mommy, come up from this side," they urged her. "All right," Orissa replied, slipping off her shoes and settling onto the bed. She lay in the middle, and the children immediately snuggled closer to her. "I'll be very good, Mommy," Jessie promised, clinging to Orissa's arm, while Gavin and Timothy lay a bit further away. Orissa chuckled, affectionately pinching Jess's nose before extending her arms to embrace the siblings. "As long as there are no kicks or punches during sleep, I'll be just fine. Don't worry too much," she reassured them. Jasper, looking concerned, glanced at Jessie. "Maybe it's better if Jessie sleeps a little further away, in case she moves around in her sleep," he suggested. Jessie looked at her older brother, torn between staying close to Orissa and the fear of accidentally disturbing her. "Then I'll sleep in the middle of you guys," she proposed. Gavin adjusted his position to accommodate her. "Jessie, you can sleep next to me, and Timothy can snuggle up to Mommy," he offered. "Okay," Jessie quickly agreed, moving to the spot between Gavin and Timothy. Orissa watched the siblings rearrange themselves, content to let them sort out their sleeping positions. Zachary, always mindful of Orissa's well-being, turned to Timothy and Jasper. "When you sleep next to Mommy, be careful not to bump into her belly," he cautioned, showing his concern for his mother's comfort and safety. "I'll put a pillow between us." Jasper carefully selected a pillow and placed it strategically between himself and Orissa. Observing Jasper's considerate move, Timothy decided to do the same. He too grabbed a pillow and positioned it as a safeguard. This way, the pillow will act as a protective buffer, making sure we don't accidentally bump into Mommy's belly. "No need to be so nervous. Let's sleep," Orissa chuckled. She lovingly patted each of their heads, her actions filled with maternal affection. Then, reaching for a lightweight blanket, she gently covered them, ensuring their comfort as they settled in for the nap. The children, not often having the opportunity to nap alongside their mother, were understandably excited. This excitement, combined with a certain restlessness, meant that sleep didn't claim them immediately. Amidst the quiet of the room, Oliver, his voice a whisper, broke the silence. "Do you think Mr. Graham has taken off for his trip yet?" Jasper, his lips pressing together in thought, speculated, "He should be at the airport by now, shouldn't he?" Benjamin had traveled by helicopter to the airport. By this time, he had arrived and was in the process of boarding his plane. It was then that he noticed the message Orissa had sent, along with the recent photos of the children. "Honey, the children's expressions after your departure. They all seemed hesitant and a bit sad to see you leave for your business trip. Does knowing this bring a smile to your face, Mr. Graham? Upon seeing the children's forlorn expressions captured in the photos and reading Marissa's words, a gentle smile began to emerge on Benjamin's face. He quickly sent a message in response. Chapter 1576. Boss, absolutely. Honey, please wait for my return at home, don't wander off. As the distinct chime of a text message resonated, Marissa's heart leapt with anticipation, suspecting it might be a reply from Benjamin. She swiftly reached for her phone. Before her eyes could even scan the message's content, she became acutely aware of her children's intense gaze fixed on her. Trying to mask her discomfort, she chuckled awkwardly, "Why are you all staring at me? It's time for your nap, go to bed." The group of 6 young ones, observing Marissa's timid reaction, couldn't contain their muffled giggles. "Mommy, is that a message from Daddy?" inquired Gavin, his face lit up with a radiant grin, his eyes shimmering with sharp wit. Marissa threw a quick glance at Gavin and responded with deliberate nonchalance, "No, it's just a text from a friend of mine." However, the children remained skeptical, reasoning that Marissa wouldn't have exhibited such bashfulness had the message been from just a friend. Jasper, ever the curious one, craned his neck to sneak a peek at the phone, but Marissa, sensing his intent, hoisted her phone out of his line of sight, firmly asserting, "Time for bed, no more questions." "This doesn't concern you." Jasper stuck his tongue out at Marissa in jest. "Mommy, you're not secretly dating someone, are you? Mr. Graham just left, and here you are, talking to other men. Imagine how heartbroken he'd be if he found out." Marissa, amused yet exasperated, rolled her eyes and reached out to playfully pinch Jasper's cheek, eliciting a pained reaction from him as he swiftly dodged to the side. "Enough of your wild imaginings, or I'll have you sleep outside alone," she warned. Deep down, she knew if she had wanted a boyfriend, the opportunity had been there long before. "Mommy, your boyfriend is Benjamin, right?" Zachary chimed in, teasing her with a mischievous twinkle in his eyes and a playful grin. Marissa glanced his way, her voice tinged with a hint of assertiveness, "And what if he is?" The children erupted into joyful laughter, gathering around her, playfully admonishing, "Mommy, don't be swayed by his sweet words. Stand firm and don't let him charm you too easily." Listening to her children's playful yet misguided advice, Marissa found herself at a loss for words. She gently patted their heads, issuing a final warning, "If you don't settle down for bed, then go play outside. I'm off to sleep myself." Taking a moment to peruse the messages on her phone, a subtle twitch of amusement crossed her lips. It appeared a certain gentleman was genuinely concerned for her well-being. She contemplated sending another picture of someone sleeping, but the children's inquisitive eyes compelled her to abstain. Placing her phone aside, she calmly announced, "It's just news about a house sale." "Mommy, are you planning to buy a house?" Timothy inquired, his eyes wide with genuine curiosity and belief. The other 5 youngsters watched Marissa with amusement, eager to see how she would navigate this narrative. "I wish I could, but I don't have the necessary funds right now." Marissa playfully fibbed to Timothy. Her current financial situation could suffice for buying a few houses but wasn't nearly enough to purchase individual houses for each child. Adding to her concerns was the unborn child she was carrying. Suddenly, the weight of responsibility and the financial pressures of raising another child dawned on Marissa, reinforcing her resolve to persevere. The cost of raising children was indeed formidable. "Mommy, when we're older, we'll work and buy the houses. You won't have to worry about it," Timothy declared, his young heart brimming with filial devotion. "We'll buy you a big one, Mommy, so we can all live together." Even at his tender age, he had already resolved to amass substantial wealth in the future, enough to secure homes not only for his mother but also for his older brother and younger siblings. Touched by the little one's heartfelt words, Marissa felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She pulled the child into a warm embrace and planted a gentle kiss on his forehead. "Thank you, sweetheart. Your words mean the world to me," Marissa responded, her voice tinged with gratitude. She chose not to dampen the child's aspirations, understanding that even if he couldn't fulfill his promise of buying a house in the future, it was the thought that counted. They already had a roof over their heads, and that was what truly mattered. Timothy, with a look of unwavering determination, solemnly vowed, "Absolutely, Mommy. I will buy it for you, no matter what." Orissa affectionately tousled his hair, her heart swelling with tender warmth. "All right, then maybe buy a few more. Mommy can never have too many houses." Timothy nodded, silently committing this promise to his heart. Orissa then gently reminded the children, firmly enforcing a quiet nap time. "Okay, everyone, no more talking now. Time to sleep. The first one to speak is the loser. We need to rest, or we'll end up sleeping the whole day away." Chapter 1577. When Orissa woke up, the house was still silent, with the children peacefully asleep. However, her mind was preoccupied with thoughts of Benjamin, which might have disrupted her sleep. Glancing at the clock, she realized that only 40 minutes had passed. At this hour, Benjamin would still be on his way to the northwestern base. After lying in bed for some time, Orissa decided to get up. Since she couldn't sleep, she freshened up, changed her clothes, and headed to the study. Using the address Gavin had previously provided, she accessed the base's surveillance cameras. Once she became engrossed in her work, she lost track of time. Eventually, the children woke up and, not finding her, guessed that she must be in the study. Rushing there, they found her deeply absorbed in her tasks. "Mommy!" The 6 little ones gathered around her, their curious eyes turning towards the computer screen. Startled back to reality, Orissa looked at her children. "Are you all awake? Mommy, did you stay up and then sneak into the study after we fell asleep?" Zachary asked, his eyes wide with concern, suspecting that she hadn't slept at all. Gavin, Timothy, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse all looked at her with similar concern and curiosity. Orissa laughed lightly, trying to ease their worries. "I couldn't sleep, so I came here after trying for more than half an hour." The children expressed their astonishment. "Mommy, you've been here for several hours now, haven't you?" "It's almost evening." Realizing that she had indeed been absorbed for over 2 hours, Orissa stretched, feeling the stiffness in her body. "Has Edwin prepared dinner yet?" Gavin eagerly updated her. "Yes. Grandpa said he would be joining us for dinner. He's on his way." They had made their way to the study as soon as they received Darius' call. Orissa nodded, then suggested, "You kids go and play outside while we wait for him." "Mommy, did you find anything?" Zachary inquired, his gaze filled with concern. "No, nothing yet." Orissa shrugged, acknowledging the unproductive afternoon. "Mommy, you should stop looking at the computer. It's not good for your eyes. Come outside with us and wait for Mr. Whitley," Oliver urged, gently tugging at her sleeve. Jasper chimed in, "Exactly, Mommy, and you're pregnant. You shouldn't sit for so long. Get up, move around, and come outside. We'll even give you a massage. Mommy, please take a break, okay? Daddy will be worried if he finds out you're looking at these things again." Timothy implored, his voice filled with concern as he gently urged Orissa to step away from her work. Orissa, noticing the anxious looks on their faces, responded with a light-hearted laugh. Okay, I'll take a break for now. We can always revisit this in the evening. Mommy, let us help with the investigation. You should rest and not worry about these things. Daddy's already on his way there. He's sure to handle the situation," Gavin reassured her, swiftly moving to shut down the computer, signaling an end to the investigation for now. Orissa, trying to downplay her preoccupation, chuckled, "I was just idly browsing, really. I find it hard to stay idle." Jesse chimed in, supporting her sibling's suggestion. "Mommy, let's follow Gavin and the others' advice and head outside for a bit." "Mommy, do you want something to drink? I can make some juice for you." Jasper didn't even wait for her reply. His concern for her well-being had him racing out of the room in an instant. "Make sure to prepare plenty," Orissa called out after him, appreciating his thoughtful gesture. The swift departure of the little one from the study left it unclear whether he had heard Orissa's shout or not. Ouch! Suddenly, a sharp cry of pain from Jasper, coming from just outside the door, jolted Orissa, making her heart race with concern. Did he trip? Quickly, check on Jasper. Did he have an accident? Orissa urged the other children, her voice laced with anxiety. She was ready to rush out herself to assess the situation. "Mommy, be careful. We'll handle it," Zachary reassured her, hurrying out to investigate. Gavin, Timothy, Oliver, and Jesse were almost at the door when they heard Jasper's voice again, this time tinged with annoyance. Chapter 1578. "Mr. Bailey, you really should watch where you're going. You've hurt me badly," Jasper exclaimed, rubbing his nose and speaking with dramatic distress. "My nose feels like it's breaking. I'll be disfigured, and you won't be able to pay for it." Sean looked at Jasper's theatrical complaining with a mix of amusement and irritation. This kid certainly had a sharp wit. Nursing a sore head himself, he responded in jest, "My apologies, I'll be more mindful. Let me see, oh, that does look red. I have some ointment here, let me apply it. Good thing it's not broken, or I might have had to resort to plastic surgery. But don't worry, I would have made sure you looked even more handsome." Jasper rolled his eyes and retorted wryly, "Disappointed my nose isn't broken, huh? I wouldn't trust your plastic surgery skills on me, no way." Sean chuckled, playing along with Jasper's banter. "All TD need to do is a little bone setting, maybe a slight adjustment. Your dad has a lot of confidence in my skills." Jasper's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "My daddy had plastic surgery. What did he have done?" Sean laughed heartily at Jasper's inquisitiveness. Gavin, Timothy, Oliver, and Jesse, upon seeing that Jasper was all right and hadn't fallen, gathered around Sean, excitedly exclaiming, "Mr. Bailey, you're here." "Sure am." Sean affectionately ruffled their hair. Inside the room, Orissa overheard their conversation and realized that Jasper was fine. She felt relieved. Zachary turned back and reassured her, "Mommy, it's okay, Jasper didn't fall. He just bumped into Mr. Bailey." Orissa smiled in response, her worry easing. She and her son then stepped outside to greet Sean. "Mr. Bailey, are you finished with work?" "Yeah," Sean nodded. "Benjamin sent me to check up on you. Should we do it now or wait until later?" "Now is fine," Orissa agreed, looking forward to Darius' arrival and needing something to occupy her time. It was just a routine checkup after all. Sean followed them into the living room, setting down his medical kit. As he prepared to check Orissa's blood pressure, she asked, "When did Benjamin ask you to come over?" "Benjamin should be at the base now. Why didn't he call me back?" Sean, busy setting up the equipment, replied, "He mentioned it around noon." "You should relax, Orissa." He encouraged her to relax as he started measuring her blood pressure. "Okay," Orissa nodded, initially assuming Benjamin had contacted Sean more recently. "Hasn't he reached out to you yet?" Sean inquired, sensing her concern. "No, not yet," Orissa responded, glancing at Sean. "And you, has he contacted you?" Sean smiled reassuringly. "If Benjamin were to contact anyone first, it would be you, Orissa. He's probably just arrived and is getting briefed on the situation. He's got acquaintances there, so there's no need to worry too much." Orissa's cheeks tinged with a soft shade of red, and she let out an awkward chuckle. "Well, it's not a given that he would contact me first. He might have reached out to you instead." Sean responded with a light chuckle, his tone playful. "If he had indeed contacted me first, rest assured, I would have given him a piece of my mind on your behalf." Orissa smirked slightly, her tone teasing. "Oh, really? As if you would dare challenge him." "Orissa, please stay quiet for a moment. I need to accurately check your blood pressure," Sean gently reminded her before proceeding to press the button on the monitor. The 6 children gathered closely, their eyes intently watching the monitor's fluctuating numbers. Jessie, her gaze flickering between the screen and Sean, asked, "Mr. Bailey, is Mommy's blood pressure within a normal range?" "Just a moment, everyone. Patience," Sean advised, signaling for them to wait for the results. At that very moment, the distinct sound of a car engine hummed from outside the house. Jasper's face instantly brightened. "Grandpa's here." Orissa turned her attention towards the door, the sound indicating Darius' likely arrival. "That's quite fast, isn't it? Quick, go greet your grandfather," she encouraged the children, as she still had to finish her medical checkup. "Mr. Bailey, is my mommy's blood pressure okay?" Gavin asked anxiously, his eyes fixed on Sean. Chapter 1579. "It's perfectly normal," Sean assured with a smile after checking the readings. "Now, you should all go and welcome your grandfather." Excitedly, the 6 children rushed out to meet their grandfather, leaving Marissa to continue with her health assessment. Soon, the cheerful sounds of the children's laughter mingled with Darius' voice as they grew closer. Darius, upon seeing Marissa undergoing a checkup, voiced his concern to Sean. "How is Marissa doing? Is her health stable? Her blood pressure is normal, no fluctuations to worry about," Sean informed Darius as he continued with Marissa's examination. The results of further tests were yet to be determined. Darius, along with the youngsters, gathered around, maintaining a respectful silence. "Dad, please have a seat over here," Marissa invited the older gentleman, gesturing toward the couch while the children led their grandfather to sit. "Grandpa, let's sit here and wait. We shouldn't disturb Mr. Bailey while he's conducting Mommy's checkup." Gavin guided his grandfather to a seat, with Timothy assisting on the other side. "Of course," Darius agreed warmly, leading the children to the opposite couch to wait for Marissa's examination to conclude. Observing their concerned looks, Sean conducted the medical checks with meticulous attention, ensuring no detail was overlooked. "All the readings are normal, no abnormalities detected. Marissa, it's important to maintain a positive mindset, eat well, and get adequate rest. Your health is in great shape." Marissa's lips curved into a slight smile. "Are these instructions from Benjamin, or your own advice?" Sean met her gaze, his expression serious. "This advice is purely from a doctor's perspective, not relayed by Benjamin." Marissa nodded, accepting his clarification with a smile, deciding not to delve further into the matter. "That's great to hear," Darius interjected with a chuckle, offering his advice to Marissa. "Issa, focus on your well-being. Benjamin will take care of everything else. The best support you can provide him is to stay healthy." "I understand, Dad," Marissa replied, smiling reassuringly to ease the elderly man's concerns. Darius then inquired about Benjamin's communication. "Has Benjamin managed to call home yet?" Marissa was about to answer when she thought she heard her cell phone ringing from the study. "No, he hasn't called," she started, but was interrupted by the sound. "Mommy's phone is ringing," Timothy exclaimed, his eyes lighting up. "I'll get it." Jasper was already sprinting toward the study, quick as a hare. The family couldn't help but laugh at his enthusiasm. "Be careful," Marissa called out, mindful of his previous mishap. "Mommy told you to slow down. Don't rush and end up in another accident." Oliver called after Jasper, who acknowledged with a quick nod, slightly slowing his pace this time. "I know," Jasper said. Darius, curious about the recent commotion, amusingly inquired, what exactly happened to him just now. Zachary, eager to fill in his grandfather, elaborated, Jasper ran out of the study so fast that he collided with Mr. Bailey. We all thought he had taken a tumble. The old man couldn't help but laugh at the image. Such a lively young boy. It's a wonder how he manages to keep himself upright. Marissa joined in with a chuckle, finding humor in the situation. Jasper's voice, filled with excitement, resonated from the study. "Mommy, Daddy is calling you." Shortly after, his figure energetically emerged from the doorway. Sean, imagining Benjamin's reaction, said with a hint of amusement, "If your daddy heard you calling him that, he'd be absolutely delighted." Darius joined in with a chuckle, reminiscing, when Benjamin was here, Jasper hardly ever called him Daddy. "Hee hee, here you go, Mommy." Jasper ran toward his mother, passing her the phone. Marissa gently tapped Jasper on the nose, giving him a cautionary reminder. "Next time, watch your step and don't run so quickly. You need to be careful not to trip." "Got it. Mommy, go ahead and answer the call," Jasper responded brightly, settling down beside his mother. Chapter 1580. Sean couldn't resist teasing Marissa. "See, I told you he would call you first." Marissa let out a slightly awkward laugh as she reached for the phone, but the ringing abruptly stopped. Quickly, she redialed. "Gavin, surprised, exclaimed, "Did Daddy hang up on us?" Zachary looked at Orissa, his curiosity piqued. It was probably an automatic hang-up. Darius, observing their eager expressions, suggested with a chuckle, "Why don't you all gather around and listen? It might be interesting to hear what's happening on your father's end." Zachary, trying to appear nonchalant, countered, "Grandpa, if you're curious, why don't you sit next to Mommy yourself?" Darius' eyes sparkled with amusement as he observed their awkward yet eager demeanor. They all clearly wanted to know but pretended otherwise, a sight he found incredibly charming. Just then, Orissa's call connected. As she began speaking, everyone instinctively quieted down, leaning in, hoping to catch a snippet of Benjamin's voice on the line. "Have you arrived safely?" Orissa inquired gently. Benjamin's voice resonated through the phone, calm and steady. "Yes, I've been here for a while. I didn't call immediately to avoid disturbing you. No wonder he only called me now. How are things on your end?" Orissa asked with concern, knowing Benjamin always dove straight into work. "Everything seems normal at the base, but we still haven't heard from Kingsley and Jack," Benjamin admitted, his tone laced with a hint of worry. Orissa furrowed her brows, glancing at the clock. "It's getting late here, and it'll soon be night where you are. Searching in the desert at night is challenging. Maybe find some local guides familiar with the terrain. More searchers could speed up the process." "I'm already on it. Ethan is gathering a team as we speak. We'll start the search once everyone's assembled." Benjamin briefly outlined the plan. "Has Sean checked on you?" "Yes, he just finished. Everything's normal," Orissa reassured him, sharing the results of her checkup. "Please be careful over there and keep in constant communication with your team." "Of course, safety is my priority," Benjamin assured her. Just then, Ethan's voice emerged from the other end of the line. "Mr. Graham, we're ready to depart." Orissa heard this clearly, a sign that Benjamin's efforts were already underway. "Did you make sure to take all the essentials like flashlights and water?" Benjamin asked his assistant. "We've got everything ready, including all the necessary medical supplies," Ethan promptly confirmed. "All right, let's get moving," Benjamin commanded his team and then addressed Orissa, his tone soothing yet firm. "Honey, we're setting out now. The signal in the desert can be unreliable, so if I'm unreachable for a bit, please don't worry. I'll contact you as soon as we're back at the base." Benjamin's preemptive reassurance was his way of alleviating any potential anxiety Orissa might feel in his absence. After all, the desert terrain was complex, and the search was not going to be an easy task. "I understand. Just make sure you all stay safe, that's the most important thing," Orissa responded, her voice laced with a mix of concern and resignation. Deep down, Orissa yearned to persuade Benjamin not to venture out, but she was acutely aware of the urgency of the situation. Kingsley and Jack's lack of contact signified potential danger, and she felt a sense of helplessness. Knowing Benjamin's character, she recognized that he wouldn't be able to remain idle under such circumstances. If their roles were reversed, she too would have found it impossible to wait passively at the base. She would have actively joined the search. "All right, I'm ending the call now," Benjamin said before the line went dead. After the call ended, leaving a busy tone in its wake, Orissa slowly lowered her phone. Sean, who had been eager to join the search but was held back by Benjamin's concern for Orissa's well-being, inquired, "What's the situation there? Any news?" "Benjamin just informed me that they still haven't been able to make contact with Kingsley and Jack. He's leading a team to search for them now," Orissa revealed, her tone tinged with worry, for Kingsley and Jack had yet to be located.